You started our broadcast, Karen.
I did?
Yes.
Oh, I think I might have done that on accident.
Oh,
Eva, sorry.
that's okay.
Okay.
Hello, everyone.
Well, can you guys see me or am I off camera? Please tell me I'm off camera.
I can't see you, Michelle.
Yay, okay, good. No one needs to see me.
I can see
I can only
Karen.
see Monica.
Yes, but that's because Monica looks lovely, like 99% of the time. So, you know.
Well, I have a curtain now, so I'm not blinding everyone.
Hi, Eva. Happy
Hey, Eva.
belated birthday. Hope you had a good day.
Thank you. It was good. I worked.
Yeah.
Works.
It happens when it falls during the week, right?
Right? I know. It's okay. Maybe next year we'll celebrate.
So someone started our broadcast. So just so you guys know, we're going to give everyone about 2 more minutes till we actually begin. I don't believe Melissa's on yet. She's our first presenter. So I'm going to go ahead and mute myself.
No, Kristen, we can't hear you. We see you though. Serenity, what are you doing? Are you being a sneaker? Hey, no biting the pillow. Stop. Let go. Let go. Serenity, let go. Whoa.
Hi guys, this is Kristen. Can you hear me?
Yes, now we can hear you.
Okay. All right. I just not even gonna mess with the computer anymore. I figure I just deal with the phone.
Would you let go? Clench your teeth.
How do I get off camera?
Karen, do you see webcams at the
Can
top?
you guys hear me?
Click to turn off your webcam.
Yes.
I can hear you, Eva.
Okay. I just wanted to make
For some
sure.
reason I'm not getting sound on my computer all of a sudden.
What do you want me to ask it?
Is that Elmo?
No, it's my granddaughter. What's your name? What's your name? Is it Serenity?
My name is Siri. You knew that already.
What do you want to ask it? What do you want to ask it? Is Serenity a stinker?
I don't know how to respond to that. Sorry, I'm still not sure about that. I don't know how to respond to that.
Do you see my friends? Hi, friend. She said, hi, friends. She sees you.
Hi.
They're waving at you.
Hi.
Oh my gosh, she's talking well.
Oh, yeah. She's still in that in-between phase, though, of what you can understand and what's just baby. Usually Elizabeth has to interpret for me. I catch like 50% of it, but
Monica, are you on the line?
I am on the line. I'm gonna,
Hey, this is
is Melissa here? I don't see her name and she's our first presenter.
I don't see her.
Okay.
I don't see her either. We do have some slides today, Monica. So to just show them from my computer, I just hit change presenter. Is that right?
Yep.
No, I don't know how to do that either.
We'll work together on this. I do believe we're live now, so welcome everyone. If you can confirm that you can see us, hear us, see my screen, that would be great. Yep, thank you so much. Coming live to you from my basement in Littleton, Colorado, missing everyone in our live meetings. Our first presenter is Melissa from Clayton. She's going to give us an update on the Colorado Shines URL. Melissa, we can see you. And if
We
you
get
guys
folks
are
to mute.
presenting, go ahead and mute yourself. Melissa, I have sent you the screen. So Melissa's having some technical difficulties with the audio. Did you want to try calling in if it's not working from your computer, maybe? We do see your presentation. Thank you guys for your patience. We'll give Melissa another minute or so. She's on a time crunch today, so we wanted her to go ahead and present first.
And Monica, since mine is short, relatively short, I would be happy to go first if that would give Melissa a little more time. I think mine's just about 5 minutes. So
Yeah, if you want to stick to 5 minutes, Eva, we can do that.
okay.
So, did we hear her? Sorry, guys. Oh,
I do
she's
have a
calling you.
Oh, okay.
Usually the phone, if you can't get your audio on the computer, then the phone should work.
Okay, great.
Okay, actually, we'll go ahead and let Eva give her presentation. So this is our EQIT update. Go ahead, Eva.
Thank you. And Monica, I actually do have a couple slides.
Okay, we'll make you the presenter.
Okay. All right, are you seeing this? Okay, great. So I just wanted to share a couple of things that, the EQ initiative is up to. Sorry, wrong way. Just around professional development, Lisa Matter and I have been doing all kinds of things, as I'm sure everybody else has, to shift and ebb and flow with our new way of being and kind of working in this virtual land. We have just completed our 12th cohort of infant toddler specialists. So we had about 23 folks who were in this cohort with us. They graciously sort of changed midstream as we had planned to get together in April and May face-to-face, and that obviously didn't happen. And so we all shifted together and ended up completing in a virtual format. The folks who are highlighted in yellow are the ones who have completed their interview and have completed their exit interview and have completed all of their parts of the certification process and are currently ready to begin teaching. There's almost everybody else is very close behind, just finishing up a few things like their trainer credentials or making up any last sessions that they weren't able to attend. So this is our list, and I'm sure that many of you are seeing folks from your councils here. And so I just wanted to give you an update that we have this whole new group of folks who are about to join EQ teams across the state. Lisa and I are also running our first ever virtual EQIT course. So this is a picture of us from last night. We have gone through 3 modules so far, and we are moving this course from face-to-face into the virtual land. And it's been really different, but for the most part, it's been okay. We are trying to practice and go through it ourselves, at least first and at least once before we hand it over to communities to try to roll out. The material itself is really meant to be relationship based, and so in a face-to-face format, the feel of that is different. And so we're trying lots of different strategies on how to still create that sort of relationship based and intimate based feel in the class by doing breakout rooms and trying to use different parts of technology to get everyone to participate together. This group has been so gracious with us as we've tried and had a couple of stumbles, but are trying to do new things with our EQIT course. So we do have a few communities who are going to be starting in August. So they are kind of watching us. As you can see on this photo, there's a live YouTube stream. So we're actually streaming the class live. So we have a group of about 20 people who are taking the course with us. And then we usually have about 20 people on the live YouTube stream who are also watching us all teach this course. So getting some feelings and some tips and some ideas on how it might work as we move forward. So just wanted to give a quick update on that. And just again, there are a few trainers out there who are we still need to have them complete their annual trainer requirements in order to be ready to teach in this next fiscal year. So the fiscal year, starting at the beginning of July. So those three things are to complete their annual video reflection, and I've put the link here, to take at least 6 hours of professional development that is with the EQ initiative. So we did a full day workshop in May, and then we have some webinars that are available that folks can watch, and we also have some courses in PDIS. So we just ask that folks take 6 hours of PD that are infant toddler focused or that are with the EQ initiative. And you can document those hours on the form that's listed there, and then just to maintain their trainer credential. So if anyone has instructors who are not current right now, they are welcome to reach out to me, and I can let them know which parts they're missing or which parts they need to complete. Was that a question? And then just last, the RBPD update from Christine. Christine just wanted everyone to know on the call that she is going to be offering RBPD this fall. So if there are folks who are interested or needing to earn their coaching credential, she is right now developing a wait list and gathering some information on folks to see what the interest is out there and who's needing it. So you can contact Christine, and you can also use this link to access the wait list and to begin to list the people who might be needing RBPD. And that is all I have for now, unless there's any questions.
As always, if you have questions, you can go ahead and type them in the question box or email Eva later on.
Perfect.
Okay, thanks so much, Eva.
Thanks, Monica.
All right, Melissa, let's see if we can hear you now.
All right, can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can, and I have made you the presenter.
All right, thank you so much, and sorry about that, everyone. I was having some technical difficulties here. All right. Can you guys see the slideshow okay?
We can see it.
Can you make it a little bit bigger in presentation mode?
Oh, yes, so it's in the proper screen. Hold on a second there.
Thank you.
Okay, is it showing presentation mode to y'all now?
Not yet.
It is not.
Oh, okay, interesting. Oh, okay, let's try this here.
And we'll be sending out this slide deck after the webinar.
Can you see the slideshow now?
We can.
Okay, yay. All right, so I just wanted to give you all some updates on Colorado Shines ratings. Last time we spoke, we had talked about a proposal that we had submitted, and we're waiting for approval to take ratings virtually. So it is official. We are going virtual. So there will not be any in-person ratings. And as an interim solution for COVID-19, we'll be going virtual. We will follow a virtual rating process, and we will follow this until the CDC guidelines change. All right, and Colorado is one of the first states that is exploring this virtual rating process. So we're really excited and proud of our state. So go Colorado for that. And then just a reminder that everything on these next few slides is information that is subject to change. We are still developing internal processes, but this is the general high level plan that we don't expect to see too many modifications to. So we're going to continue using the R versions of the scale. We'll rate one classroom from each age level instead of 50% of each age group. The rating will be valid for 2 years instead of 3. So levels 3 through 5 will all continue to be levels providers can attain. Providers will be asked to submit a walkthrough video of their classrooms and childcare spaces, as well as photo evidence, written evidence, and participate in a scheduled interview with an assessor. And we are going to provide some detailed checklists to providers so they know exactly what type of evidence they need to submit. So providers will have a 60-day window to submit all evidence. Initial ERS evidence will be due in 30 days, so assessors can review and ask for revised photos and videos if needed. L3 through 5 indicator documentation will remain almost the same with a few adjustments for virtual collection. We'll be providing an updated evidence guide. And then we're going to NA parts of the scale that cannot be accurately scored virtually, including any health department requirements during COVID. So access to sensory play or soft toys. So next steps for us, we're currently in development of the internal processes and provider coach resources. So this includes those detailed checklists that I mentioned. One is going to be more tailored to coaches and one for providers. And then after everything is developed, we plan to pilot with several programs in August and September. So originally scheduled March and April, and possibly beyond providers will be contacted and then begin the process. We'll also receive, they'll also receive a survey so they can give us really specific feedback during their pilot. After a pilot, we will adjust everything based off of feedback, and then we'll conduct a second pilot in October with providers originally scheduled for April to June. Providers that pilot the rating results, it will count towards their official rating. And we hope to fully launch in November, continuing to catch up on our backlog of programs in the queue. For communication plan, the Colorado Shines website will be updated with all the new rating information and resources. Colorado Shines Q&A sessions, which are facilitated by the assessment team on the third Friday every month, will be dedicated to getting communications out about the new rating and supporting those providers approaching their rating. These are recorded and posted on Clayton's website as well. We'll host several town hall meetings and information sessions starting in August and continuing to October for coaches, providers, and other ECE professionals across the state. We'll be announcing these details soon. And then assessor orientation calls, as always, will continue to be a good resource for providers to understand the new process and receive emailed resources. And that was my quick update. So we just wanted to say thank you, and we look forward to continuing quality improvement efforts across the state.
Thanks so much, Melissa. We do have a few questions, but for the sake of time, we'll just send the responses by email because Melissa has to take off and we have other agenda items. So we will move right along to our next presenters. We have some members of our preschool development grant team. We have Angela and Kristen. They will present on the coaching of small business development centers. And who's presenting? Whose screen would you like to share?
I have the slides.
Okay.
Yeah, Monica, Kristen. Okay. Can you see the slides?
We can.
You can?
Yes.
Okay. Just wanted to check. All right, go ahead, Angela.
Yeah, thanks everybody. This is going to be fairly similar actually to what we discussed last month, but we wanted to give a few updates as they've now developed. We have signed our contract with the Office of Economic Development and International Trade so that the small business development centers can provide coaching and consultation services to childcare businesses across the state. Just as a quick reminder, this was part of our COVID response within PDG. We always intended to do business-related trainings under preschool development grant, but with the delays related to COVID for some of our training opportunities, the partnership with small business development centers made the most sense moving forward as they have expertise with small business management. And we're really excited about the opportunity to build stronger connections with SBDCs and their consulting network to learn more about how we can build business expertise within the childcare industry. And as we've been walking through this strategy, we know that counselors are going to be an excellent partner in helping our programs across the state access this support. So, Kristen, we can go to the next slide. I think you're on mute, Kristen.
I am. Thank you. Okay, sorry. We wanted to just let you all know that, understanding that small business development centers would be leaning on early childhood councils for their expertise, and that, the point is, as Angela mentioned in part, to really build that relationship. We wanted to make sure that we could compensate ACCs for their time with the activities. And so what I'm going to do is just walk through 3 activities that are able to be billed to an accounting line that we added to the quality improvement, GAE. It's called Coaching of SBDCs is the line. And, we're proposing that ECCs could bill at $50 an hour to this line for these 3 approved activities, and that they would bill at a quarter hour, so every 15 minutes. So if something takes, 25 minutes, you might bill, 0.5 of an hour. So let's get into the activity. Oh, before that, I wanted to just note that these 3 activities were developed as a result of conversations with SBDCs about what they thought they would want and need from early childhood councils, as well as with several early childhood councils around the state who have worked with SBDCs or currently do a lot of work in the business development sector. So we wove in all that feedback in terms of these 3 particular activities. So the first one is that every early childhood council has been budgeted up to 6 hours to provide technical assistance to resolve childcare industry specific questions that SBDCs may have when they're consulting one-on-one with providers. So if you'll remember, we've sort of got 2 pieces. We've got the one-on-one consultation with providers where they may be helping, develop a budget or an emergency plan, and then we have the trainings. So this has to do with that work one-on-one with providers. And so, it may be that the consultant who is working with a particular provider has a question about something specific to the childcare industry they're not sure about, and they need to kind of phone a friend. And so they may call the contact at the ECC who has been designated to receive these calls and say, hey, this is the question, or send an email and say, hey, this is the question I have. And the early childhood council representative would get back to them. I should say, before I go on to another example of what might fall under this, that it is totally voluntary for you all as councils, whether you choose to sort of sign up for this. And so, to be able to be contacted by SBDCs, because we understand there are differences in bandwidth, and there's a lot going on right now. So Angela will talk a little bit more about how you can do that, but I want to make that clear too as I talk through this, that it's voluntary. And then another example may be, if you've been working with a provider on business needs and that provider feels your presence is necessary to explain their particular business need or situation to the SBDC consultant. It may be that you participate in the first, portion of that virtual call or telephone call, or however they agree to set it up, to be able to kind of translate that for the SBDC consultant. And so you might bill like a quarter hour for that, and then be available offline for other one-off questions that come from the consultant during that time. But the point is not for the ECCs to be present on every single consultation call. It's really just in those circumstances where that you need to kind of provide, be the bridge in terms of language between the provider and the SBDC consultant when it's needed to help them better assist the provider. And, you know, they're only 6 hours. We didn't have an unlimited amount of funds, so there are only 6 hours budgeted for this for each council. So you want to be judicious about how you use that. And then certainly in the invoice process, you'll have to explain the technical assistance that you provided in each instance that you're billing for. So the second approved activity is to consult with the SBDCs on the development of childcare focused business training. And so we know there will be 5 or 6 centers, small business development centers around the state that will be creating their training and putting on virtual training for providers. And those small business development centers may reach out to their local council and say, you know, I'd like your help in terms of developing this training, or I would love your help in terms of reviewing it once it's done. And so for those councils that are contacted by the training SBDCs, you know, their time in providing that coaching to the SBDCs will be covered for the training development. And then the third approved activity is providing technical assistance on childcare quality and other early education topics to SBDCs and providers during the SBDC-led training sessions. So, you know, again, one thing we heard is that when these training sessions are occurring, it would be helpful for someone from that council, that local council for the SBDC to be present and available to answer any childcare specific questions that come up in the course of training. So that's another approved expense. But that is only to be used for one ECC staff person per training event for the council that's working with that particular SBDC who's putting on the training. And one thing I want to note is that for these 2 activities, we're going to ask for prior approval of what you think the number of hours you'll spend on these activities, if they're applicable to your council, would be. And also, I'm going to go back one, but for the technical assistance, if you think you might need more than 6 hours, after that initial 6 hours, we'll also ask for prior approval before you do the activity. And the reason why we have to do this is a brand new project. We have a limited budget. We don't know what usage is going to look like, to be frank. And so we've got to keep really tight control on what's going out, because we do not want you all to be, you know, spending your time and then, you know, we don't have the funds to compensate you. So we will be avoiding that problem through the prior approval process.
Yeah, thanks, Kristen. And so with that in mind, we wanted to share, and I'm actually going to drop a link in the chat box right now. We wanted to share the opportunity. Let's see if that will send. The opportunity right now, and we'll follow up with this in an email as well, but just wanted to give you the opportunity while we're talking about it. If you have a sense of, you know, who the contact person within your council would be for the small business development centers to contact in terms of working on this consultative piece or working on their curriculum, we would love for you to populate the name of that person in this Google Doc. So we're going to share this Google Doc with both all of the councils and all the small business development centers as a means of networking between the two. We realize that some of you already have those relationships, but this is just helpful for our tracking purposes to see who is going to be participating. And then we'll also be able to track some of those hours. If some of the councils are choosing not to participate and can relinquish those hours, we can then repurpose them towards some of the other councils who are. So that's just one of those things that we wanted to open up that conversation, knowing that, again, bandwidth might be limited for some, and that way we can make sure that those hours are allocated and spent out this year where possible. Invoicing is not going to follow, unfortunately, the same GAE process as other grant funding opportunities. So we will also be providing a separate invoice and contact information for this process. And we're creating a Google Drive where all of this will live. So I know we're going through these things quickly, but we'll have a guidance document available there. The contact sheet will be available there. The invoice template will be available there, and then other resources as necessary, including a list of all the training dates, any marketing materials, and things like that. And then we'll do some direct outreach to you when we're ready to launch all of those components of it. And I'll pause there. Kristen, did I miss anything for the process that you'd like to add?
No, nope.
So we'll go on to the next slide and I'll just let you know a little bit more. So our project timeline, as I mentioned at the beginning, we are now under contract with OEdit, and we're going to be able to move forward quickly with the rest of the curriculum development. And so we're kicking off the project with SBDCs in early August. You can expect that hopefully the first trainings will be available in mid to late August as well as September, and we'll expect those trainings to be available through the end of the year. So we'll have several different series for those trainings, including one that's focused on homes and at least one in Spanish. And then we'll be talking with them about other opportunities for translation in the future. But for now, just know that we're going to be, like I said, focusing on at least one session on homes, at least one session in Spanish, and then several center-focused trainings as well. And then we're going to be, like I said, dropping that guidance document for this funding stream pretty soon into that Google Drive, and we'll share all of these resources in the coming weeks. So we're excited to get this finalized and thought this was a good time to chat with you and see if there's any additional questions that you need answered. And that way we can make sure that we update the guidance documents and answer any of your questions in advance. And like Kristen mentioned, this is our first time partnering with SBDCs. We don't know how much support they will need from councils, and we're going to try and be as flexible as possible as we learn during this process. So yes, this is Kristen and my contact information if you don't already have it, and we'll now go on for questions.
I'm going to go ahead and stop presenting.
Oh, the first question is the 6 hours per childcare program per council or per coach?
So right now that 6 hours for the consultation is per council. So even if you have several different coaches working on this project, it's per council at this point in time. If we're able to increase that amount, we will go through that prior approval process to let you know if we can accommodate that.
Thanks. The next question is, because this funding flows through GAE, is the SBDC support only available for programs with MOUs for Colorado Shines or all programs?
We'll have to phone an expert friend for that, but I will say that it exists under the current quality improvement GAE. It's part of that. And so I don't know if that answers the question, but that is something we'll have to clarify, or maybe Karen, if she's on the phone, can answer. Sorry, Angela.
Yeah, no, I think I'll just add that any program can access the training and consultation for the SBDCs. Is this question related to the council's consultation and reimbursement, or the ability of a program to participate? Maybe that's a helpful clarifier for us.
Yes, it is related to the council.
Yeah, let us circle back internally and see if there's any reason why that would be different. And we'll clarify that in the documents and get that out to you. But all programs can access the consultation and training for Small Business Development Center. So I'll just say that part for now.
Okay, and the next question is, does council contact need to be a credentialed coach?
I think it's whomever is the right person either to field some contact. Like, it may be that not all questions or not the same person is used for every instance. So you can think about it either as the right person to field the particular request to the right people within your council, or it could be one person who's just your go-to, link between sort of childcare and business that would be able to do all of it. I think that's up to the council, but we just want to have one clear contact person for that SBDC to initiate the request.
Thank you. And where will you guys be sending out this information once it's all gathered? Kind of the workbook you were talking about?
Yeah, so as we mentioned, we're going to create kind of a shared drive that all of these documents will live on so that there's the ability to access it at any time. We intend to utilize the Colorado or the ECC listserv within OEC. And then I think we'll probably be doing some outreach to ECLA to echo some of this conversations. And then I'm happy to accommodate any other mechanisms that folks have to suggest here.
Yeah, I think that's right. What Angela said is when we send out the guidance document, and we can include the link to the drive where we'll have the invoice and you know, sort of any other related documents, we will send that all in an email to, you know, the list of council contacts that we use through OEC early next week.
All right, and then we have Heather Hanna from ECLA saying ECLA is happy to share too. So thanks, Heather.
Thank you.
All right, we will be sending out the slides and they have Angela and Kristen's contact information. So if you guys think of anything in the meantime, you can just shoot them an email.
Yeah, and then Monica, if I could have just one more minute, I did want to note that we will have information on the startup and expansion micro grants and the CDA scholarships in the next few weeks. Again, we're finalizing the contracts for the CDA and we're really excited to launch the application very soon. Again, can't give any specific dates for launch on that right now, so we don't have a full-blown presentation, but know that we will get those out as soon as possible and we'll plan to give further updates at the next ATA day. So didn't want to leave those off of the agenda completely, and we'll be following up soon.
Thank you guys so much. We will move on to Julia from our communications team. She will be talking about the EC provider guide. Hello, Julia, we can see you. Let me go ahead and make you the presenter. We cannot hear you though.
There we go. I unmuted myself.
Okay.
Okay. Share my screen.
We can see your screen.
Okay. Can you see the Office of Early Childhood website? Is that what you're seeing?
Yes.
Okay. Excellent. All right. So I'm Julia Anderson. I'm not, unfortunately, my name says my name is Colorado Department of Human Services. That's not my name. I'm the communications specialist for the Division of Early Care and Learning. And we recently put together a guide to kind of support providers as they're either reopening or, you know, responding to COVID. So I'm going to show you where to find this on our website. So if you go to the Colorado Office of Early Childhood.com, you want to click on resources. And then you'll want to click on information for early childhood programs. So right here at the top, we have our COVID-19 resource guide. This is a brief description of really what it is. It's something we worked on in collaboration with CDPHE to help support childcare programs in their response to COVID. And so this is where you can access the guide. In addition, we also held a town hall on July 9th. And so if you weren't able to attend that, or you know programs who weren't able to attend that, I highly encourage you to watch the recording, which you could do so by clicking here. We had a great panel of people, licensing, people from childcare licensing, as well as CDPHE. So a lot of the questions that might come up, those should be answered in the recording. So I'm going to go ahead and click on the guide. Still load, okay. Can you still see that okay?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. So we made it pretty fun and colorful, but it's essentially the way the way we developed it was kind of walking through like what is a day in the life of a childcare provider, you know, especially in responding to COVID. So we start off with like planning your operations and go all the way down to like pick up and closing. But to start, one of the things that we're wanting to make sure that we encourage childcare providers to do is to, continue to consult their licensing specialist about things, their counsel, as well as local public health agencies when certain concerns come up. We're really leaning on those local public health agencies for a lot of localized response. And then we're also really encouraging them to continue to update their status in the provider portal. This just allows us to see, it provides us some really helpful information about who's open, who's remaining closed, that kind of thing. So as soon as their status changes, we really want to make sure that they're updating that so we have a kind of a touch point on what's going on in the communities. So we start off by, planning your operations. And so each of these highlighted words are different links to additional resources that can help support them. So we say, examine your home or facilities operations. You can click right there, and that's going to take you to Denver Early Childhood Council's really great web page that kind of talks through, helps people process whether or not it's time to reopen. We walk through cleaning procedures, how to do social distancing, classroom composition. We just have a ton of great resources here. What to do, or how to develop a protocol, if you have an outbreak or a COVID case, and that kind of stuff. And then our next section, we have, a section about before families arrive, really what do you want to be thinking about before that? So posting signs, communicating with parents about some certain important steps to make sure that, we're preventing the spread of germs, policies around face coverings, and all those types of things. We have linked here guidance on current guidance on face coverings and different other things that we have in place. We have some information on drop-off procedures, staggering drop-off times, how to do that, how to check kids in and out safely, symptom assessments, additional resources if you click on these links to kind of go into what that actually looks like. And I know I'm walking through this a little fast, but I want to make sure we have some time for questions. And next section, we have some information on playtime, how to do playtime safely, disinfecting, supporting kids, how to do mealtime safely, washing hands. If you need access to food, we have links for the Child and Adult Care Food Program, which can help support providers in getting access to food. Some information on nap time, how to, handle bedding and how often that needs to be washed. Outdoor time, we're really encouraging a lot of outdoor time, how to maintain social distancing when we're outdoors. And then pickup, which is kind of similar to kind of the drop off, but just some other, reminders about staggering drop off time, etc. And then at the closing, we have some information here from CDPHE that really walks through, what do you need to think about when you're closing as far as sanitation and other type of procedures to make sure that we're looking at. And then finally, in the guide, we wanted to make sure we included a little bit of information about how to communicate with families, because this is a big deal, and it's hard. Sometimes it's hard to know exactly how to talk about things that are like this. So we have some information here about how to communicate with families, and then we also link a resource that we developed specifically for families on how to support young children during COVID-19. And so if you click on that, you've probably seen this. We developed it back in April, beginning of May. And this just provides some really helpful information for families, and it could also great for providers as well, about how to support kids, how to talk to kids about COVID-19, as well as a bunch of different internet resources that you can access as well. And this resource guide is available in both English and Spanish, so it's available right here. You can click on And I think that's kind of a quick overview of what this guide contains. So I would just like to open it up to any questions. I am a communications specialist. I'm not licensing or CDPHE, but if you do have questions directly about that, we can definitely loop back and get those answered for you.
Thanks, Julia. Go ahead and type your questions in the question box. Has anyone had a chance to look at this resource before today? It looks really good, Julia.
Thanks.
And a few people are saying yes, they have looked, they have seen it before. So that's good.
Great. I'm glad to hear that. Okay, if there are no questions, then thank you, Monica, for giving me some time to talk about this. And yeah, we're excited to have this out, have this resource out for providers.
Okay, thank you so much. Okay, we will move right along to Karen and Bowden. She will be talking about House Bill 1053.
Hey.
We see you, Karen, and I'm sending you the screen to make you the presenter. Did you get a little notification that's asking you?
I did. I said yes, but it's
okay.
Not showing my PowerPoint. Let me try something else. Just in case, Monica, you might want to pull up that.
I do have.
Let me try it one more time here. Okay, I think it might work. Can you see it now?
Yes, we can.
Yay. Okay. Very cool. Well, we are very excited to kind of be able to talk about this a little bit more than we could last time because we were waiting on some information from some of the legislation, and it got signed last week, so that was also exciting. So hopefully we will get to answer questions today. But I put together a summary slide if I can get it to pull up. Oh my gosh, what is going on? I can't get it to the other screen. I don't know why. Oh, there we go. Okay, yay. All right. So we got the long bill information, and the dollar amount for this quality improvement funding is 1.9 million, which is just incredible given this state of flux that we're in with our COVID situation. And so we're very, very excited about that. And we did also find out that 10% of that funding will get allocated to early childhood councils for their CSQI-based funding to support providing service to additional programs. So that's also exciting. So we, of course, will be working very, very fast and diligently to get amendments out to you guys for this. So we can add those funds and get an updated documentation to you about this program. But the summary basically indicates that we can provide technical assistance and financial incentives to programs rated at level 1 and higher, whereas before we were really focused on level 2 and higher. I do want to have a discussion about that here in a short term once I get through this. And then it also tells us that we can provide technical assistance and financial incentives to programs rated levels 3 through 5 to maintain their high quality. It goes on to indicate that early childhood councils must update school readiness plans to include how they will target and recruit these programs. So it's all programs, levels 1 through 5. And it also requires an amendment to existing contract, which I mentioned, and we will start to work on here very, very quickly. We literally got this information Tuesday afternoon. So thanks for bearing with us as we were trying to get our questions answered. And And I think Stacy had a question about this will be added to CSQI base versus systems building. Yes, so in the long bill, these funds are listed under the quality line, which indicates we have to keep them into the quality line. So those funds will be under your CSQI base. So what we're going to do from here, we are going to ask that you guys do update your school readiness plans and submit those to us by August 31st. If for some reason that date is not doable, get in touch with your coordinator. It's going to take a little time for these amendments to get processed. So if we have most of them by the 31st, we can get them moving forward. But if we have one or two that, you know, because there's vacations or other things happening, then we can certainly work with you guys on that. So let us know about that. We will be needing to update the Colorado Shines business rules to include those level ones. Specifically in the legislation, they removed the language around hardship programs. So our current business rules do talk about programs who qualify for hardship. Those business rules are in effect right now. So until we get the amendments out, you can continue to recruit as you have under the existing business rules. But once we get the new ones out, basically it will open up opportunities for programs to continue to get engaged with you, get an MOU in place, and be able to access these additional funds. And then we will also be needing to do a technical review and update to the SRQIP rule that also has language in it about level 2 and higher, as well as it has language in it around the hardships. So we'll just clean that up as we go through this process. So that, and we have a little extra time to do that. So the main and primary focus for us is to get your amendments out, get the dollars added to the GAE so that we can start to access these funds fairly quickly. And I did want to take some time today, if you guys are willing to work with us on this. We have a few questions for you. We want to kind of hear your thoughts around this. Since we've been working with level 2s pretty much for the most part, with the exception of a handful of hardship sites that were level 1, the legislation does indicate that these level 1 and 2 programs must eventually get to level 3 or higher. So does not put a timeline in. Our current business rules has an 18-month timeline for our level 2s. But we really wanted to get your feedback around what this should look like. So if it's a level 1 site that you're recruiting, is 18 months the right timeline? Do we need more time? Do we need to break up 1 to 2 or 2 to 3 through 5? And so that's kind of where we'd like to hear what you guys are thinking around that, and if you wanted to give us some feedback. And I don't know, Monica, do you want to go through these questions and we can answer some of those, and then we can have people think about that and start to jot down ideas around that? We can open up phone lines or whatever makes sense.
Yes. So first question, will there be any other qualifying factors for programs to be eligible?
Good question. So this is the information we were waiting on as well. As you know, that we have in the past required the fiscal agreement from providers in order to participate. And under this new legislation, they are not requiring that fiscal agreement. They just want us to get more programs into high quality so we have more access for families in the state. But I do want to just say, as you all are well aware, it's still a state goal to get as many programs, with these fiscal agreements, so that we can continue to provide as much access to families of need across the state. So it's a good news situation where we can now open the funding up a little bit more, but we still want to be encouraging folks to be serving our high needs population.
Thanks, Karen. Next question is, When will we know how much more we are receiving so we can create our plan to match the funding?
That's a great question. So we actually started working yesterday. What we're likely going to do is use a similar formula that we used when we did your systems building funds. There's a high needs formula that was created to understand how to allocate those funds. We will likely use that same high needs formula to split up these dollars. So again, it's not a huge amount of money. It's 190,000, but I'm excited that it's going to be available. And so we'll do a table out to you guys fairly quickly so that you can start to do that with your school readiness plans. That's a great point. We'll get that out to you hopefully next week.
Will there be guidelines for the incentives?
Yeah, the business rules will be included in the amendment. They will look very, very similar to what you've been using. We will just have the hardship out of there, and it basically is just any and all programs who are willing to work with you, who are willing to go through, who are willing to sign the MOU, who are willing to, go through the rating process, who are willing to work on continuous quality improvement if they already have that high quality rating.
Thanks, Karen. We do have a long comment from Stacy Petty, so I'm going to go ahead and unmute her so she can start our discussion. Go ahead, Stacy.
Hi, I'm going to scroll back up to see what were you, I think.
I was referring to your 18-month.
Oh, okay. So you asked for some feedback about time.
Right.
Generally, it's worked for us to have 18 months from the time they sign an MOU as a level 2. But I think for like a brand new program who's never had coaching, who's never had any of those supports, who's still figuring out what they're doing, more time would be very much needed. And then my other thought would be, it would be nice to have some flexibility built in so that based on the coaches' feel for that program as well, we may have some that do fine with 18 months who are brand new. We've had a few of those who are freshly level 1s and they're ready to hit the ground running. But then we have others that we know need a lot more support. So it would be nice to have some flexibility so we could individualize.
That sounds great, Stacy. Thank you so much for that. I know when I was originally looking at this, I was wondering if, like 1 to 2, could we, say it takes roughly 6 months. And I know every program is different. Somebody's going to do it in a month and somebody might take 8. And we do want to build that flexibility in there. But if we looked at maybe our level 1 sites getting extra time over that 18 months versus our level 2 sites, that's kind of what I wanted to kind of, balance with you guys to see, and we do want to build in flexibility, which we have. If a council does call and say, hey, ABC program, whatever, needs a little extra time, we're like, yeah, of course. But we also want you to feel empowered to make those decisions yourself too. So.
Sure, and with that 18 months, we always know that if they submit at 18 months,
it's
then
going to
there's
take
at
a little
least
extra
3
time.
months
Yes.
after that before they could possibly be in the queue. And then you have COVID in there, so we know that throws things off even more. But so really, we're looking at more like 21 months possibility for those level 2s. But yeah, I just think, we have some level 1s who are amazing and could hit that easily, and others who would likely need more time for support, for more coaching, for additional guidance because they're still figuring it all out.
Right. I bet, we don't really know our level 1s that well. We might have some really, really high performing programs out there that are level 1 that just haven't decided to engage. So I totally understand what you're saying there. So
thanks.
Perfect. That's perfect. Thank you.
Next, I'm going to go ahead and unmute Megan from Grand and Jackson County. You're self-muted, Megan. Okay, let's move on. Vanjie has a good question, Karen. It says, when can programs that don't have a fiscal agreement sign up? Do we just amend the current MOU for those sites?
That's a great question, and I'm glad you brought that up because I meant to talk about that. So as soon as your amendments are executed, you can begin to recruit broadly under this. Until that point, certainly you can have conversations with, programs that maybe you're starting to build relationships with, or we're just kind of waiting for this possibility. But you will not be able to execute MOUs with them until you have your new amendment in place. Now, I do want to bring up the MOU. We are going to have to make some tweaks to the MOU as well, because again, it's focused on level 2. So we'll make those adjustments. Some of you also have some edits that you like to include. That's totally fine as well. I don't want people to think though that they have to go and backwards. For anybody that you're signing MOUs with now for this year, you don't have to go backwards with the new MOU. Just when the amendment gets, let's say it's effective October 1st. So from October 1st on, that's when you would use that new MOU and recruit the programs under this new guidance. Hopefully that helped.
Thanks, Karen. And can you describe a little bit more? So it's $1.9 million. We'll be allocating $190,000 to CSQI base funds for 34 councils. Can you describe what the rest of the funding will be used for?
Absolutely. So that's roughly 1.7 that will go directly into the GAE for drawdown to support those programs.
And the award amounts will be the same as they are right now for regular CSQI awards.
That's correct. And we did some rough math yesterday. So we're getting a little bit of a late start, right? Because the amendments probably won't happen until this fall. But we could serve roughly between, 450 and 500 new programs, which would be a lot, frankly. But I think it's just going to be a wonderful opportunity for us to gain this momentum. And then as we go into 21, fiscal year, we'll have all this moving forward a little bit sooner to give us more opportunity to recruit those more programs.
Thanks, Karen. Megan, if you're available now, we'd love to hear your comments.
Sorry, this is Megan. I had to step away for a minute.
No worries.
Sorry about that. My comment was just, I think it echoed what Stacy already said, is that some flexibility is needed because it really does depend on the program and their motivation. I think we have had programs in our community that are brand new and have gone from level 2 to 3 through 5 in easily 18 months as a brand new program. We've had programs that have been a level 1 or a level 2 for the last 3 years. So, and I think that sometimes that jump from level 1 to 2 can happen pretty quickly, but it's then jumping from 2 to 3. So it's almost like they need separate timelines for each jump.
Okay, that's exactly what I was wondering, and we can have others weigh in on that as well too. But I was kind of leaning that way too, Megan, saying from 1 to 2 would give them a time period there. Yeah. And then that 2 and up, keeping that 18 months, that'll keep us. There's always flexibility with that, so don't worry about that. But when we have to actually draft rule in SRQIP, they're
Yep.
gonna hold us, say to timelines. So as far as putting it in that way, we'll always allow for flexibility if somebody needs a little extra time though. So yeah, I like that idea. If others feel like that's a great way to go, then I think really calling out that level 1s could in fact be very emergent and that they need that extra time, making that assumption versus making the assumption that, oh, hey, everybody's ready to go because we've been doing this for 5 years.
Exactly. And you may have a brand new program too that needs more time to get things figured out. And Karen, did I hear you correctly that the level 1s and 2s will not need a fiscal agreement to be eligible for the incentive funding?
That's correct.
Okay, thank you. I just wanted to clarify that.
Yeah.
So pretty much you can work with all programs that are willing to jump on board and increase their quality through the rating. We do have a comment that says, I agree for a home provider to move from level 2 to level 3 or higher is huge. And with turnover and additional changes right now with staffing, the extra time would be very helpful.
Well, we've got extra time because we have this rating situation that we're in. And while we are pretty excited about the virtual process, we've got a long way to go to get people caught up. That being said, I do want to have you guys encourage your programs to still submit their applications if they were coming up or they're even wanting to engage. It's going to be a number of months, but it really helps us because those who are high quality, once they submit their application, everything locks. Their rating won't drop if they're already high quality. And then we don't have to kind of chase around these one-off drops that have been happening and calling you guys saying, oh, do you know what's going on with so-and-so because the rating dropped. So we'd love for that to continue to happen. But yes, we are gonna, it's gonna take us, we don't even know how many months right now to get caught up because the time study, of course, has to be done with the virtual process. But we are pretty excited. We're at least going to get to start moving things forward.
So we have a question. It says, so non-CCAP sites can apply now. Once the contracts are amended with this new House bill, we will be able to support those programs that are non-CCAP, that do not have a CCAP fiscal agreement.
Yep, that's correct. I do want to point out, you guys have heard little bits and pieces of this, and we were actually hoping to have some time today to give you a little bit more information, but next state TA day we'll make sure we have time. But we are in the throes of working on some system enhancements. In basically we're transitioning from this classic view to lightning view. It's if you will, it's Salesforce's higher level operating system. And so things will look a little different, but it's giving us an opportunity to actually look at processes that aren't going so well right now and making some adjustments to them. And the reason I bring this up right now is that we will still continue to prioritize programs who are serving a high needs population in the rating queue, as well as those who are holding a fiscal. So while we can certainly support programs that are non-CCAP and certainly support programs that don't have the fiscal, we'll still have some priority scheduling for those who are serving that high needs population. So it's really to the program's benefit if they do want to get that fiscal in place. Again, access being a statewide goal.
Thanks, Karen. We have another, hold on. We have another question. It says, how will local DHS agencies be informed of the CCAP change? Many of us have contracts with our local DHS agencies, so it would be very helpful to know how this information will get to those partners.
Yeah, that's a great question. I'll reach out to our CCAP team and Tamara and see how she wants to get some of this communicated. And I mean, they already probably know some of this because it's in legislation and it's public information, but more than likely they aren't thinking in that term of process, right? So we will work with the CCAP team to make sure that either on one of our CCAP meetings that we have once a month, we have a couple of them. One's a working group and then one's our focus group around the fiscal agreements, and see what kind of information that we can get put out there, as well as I know they have some regular communication vehicles, and so I'll work with them to see how we go about getting the word out on that.
Thanks, Karen. We do have a comment. It says this bill is so important to support those programs without CCAP fiscal agreements who want to attain higher quality. We have so many who serve low income or at-risk populations in other ways. This will make things easier on us. We appreciate the opportunity.
Yeah, we're pretty excited too. We supported this, but it actually, it was Representative McCluskey who really wanted to push this. And I know that the child care group over at the governor's office also really wanted to open this up. So again, I can't stress the kind of amazement of them allowing us to have this extra funding in this really tough time to support those programs. So thank you for saying that.
And then another comment is wondering if we can still talk about the multiple reasons and benefits for accepting CCAP.
Oh, absolutely. I would expect that we would continue to do that anyway. Again, just ensuring that people know that, this is a focus of our state, and that those families who, may not be able to access, that particular program, who hasn't taken those kids before because, they've got a really, a wait list, or a lot of families willing to pay full rates. But if they could just support one or two families that really need that extra support and high quality care, it's just a great thing to do. So absolutely, that would be a benefit.
We have a few thank yous. Does anyone else have anything they want to share about the timeline on reaching quality level 1, getting to a level 2, and what your suggestions might be?
And if you want to think about it, great, just shoot us an email, either to coordinator or myself. We will start to draft up the sooner we can get the business rules done, obviously the sooner we can get the amendments done. So take a day or two, give us your feedback, and we will diligently start to move this forward as quickly as possible, because we want to see these dollars get out the door as well.
And we do have a comment that says, I'd love to talk about capital improvement funds for this year if there's time. Go ahead, Stacy, you should be unmuted still.
Just wanted to put it out there that by having this change, that capital improvement funds are a one-time application, that means that 17 of my 65 programs who participate in Colorado Shines will no longer be eligible for capital improvement, and that's the large majority of our programs who care for kids under 3. So, and one provider has opened a classroom each of the last 2 years because of those funds, and wouldn't be able to expand further. So just a plea that if at some point there's continued funding, that would really be something wonderful in our region anyway.
Yeah, that's a really great point, Stacy. We are trying to balance, how do I put this? We've had a handful of programs come back and come back and come back, and without any containers on it, we were starting to get a little nervous, especially around family child care homes, and we're not really supposed to pay things that would improve their home, but would provide, improvement to their program. And so it's a fine line with family child care homes. But we were starting to see those folks come back year after year after year, and I think we're in our 3rd year of doing this. And so we started to get a little nervous about, the fact that the same folks were coming to access those funds. And we thought, and we haven't finalized anything, so we're happy to revisit this. We can either, set a threshold budget, that's still an option, and just focus on the folks that are opening new classrooms, especially infants and toddler classrooms, and focus on those that, maybe haven't had access to those funds before. And then we could waitlist others. And if there are extra funds available, we could go back to those folks who have a really strong application and relook at those. in that, maybe after January or something. So we can pound that out internally and get some further guidance out to you guys if that helps. But appreciate your input on that and your feedback on that so that we can get it into the business rules so people feel like it's a level playing field.
Absolutely. If there's any feedback you ever need from me, of course, reach out anytime.
You know I love to.
And we do have a comment or question that says, do you anticipate capital improvement funds being available as per usual this year? So we had some confusion about capital improvement. They are available. Remember, it's for programs that serve infants and toddlers and are have regular CSQI eligibility, meaning they're level 2 or higher, and they have that CCAP fiscal agreement. What did change is that if a program was awarded a capital improvement grant last fiscal year, they will not be eligible this fiscal year. And that's with what Karen was mentioning. We had a few programs that, we've put in a fence, we've put in a pergola, and all of a sudden we're increasing the value of their home. So we have to be pretty careful with that. And we want the capital improvements to be spread out amongst the entire state. But they are available. And for infants and toddlers only, so they've always been that the lump sum of the capital improvement dollars do come from the infant toddler quality and availability grant, which is to serve 0 to 3-year-olds. So for a program to qualify for a capital improvement, they do need to serve at least 3-year-olds, if not younger.
So it's not just infant toddler only programs. It's any program that serves infants and toddlers. What it does exclude, though, is a preschool only program and that's just legislatively mandated that those funds have to go to programs that are serving infants and toddlers.
Are there any more questions about the House Bill 1053 or our regular quality improvement dollars? Go ahead, Karen.
Just real quick, I know we've just got a few minutes, but I am hearing that there's going to be more guidance coming out in the next 3 weeks or so around the CARES Act money and information on how programs will be able to apply for those grants as well. So just kind of it's not being run from our division, so we don't know exactly the timeline, but I am hearing that it's going to be within the next couple of weeks. So I think that's pretty exciting as well.
And will there be a one-pager for the available funding to share with sites?
You guys will you'll have your business rules, and if you want to develop something that attaches to your MOU, then I say, go for it. But otherwise, what we'll provide is an updated MOU and an updated business rule to help support you.
So I think with the one pager, usually councils kind of have created that themselves.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and some councils just, they take a different approach with programs than some other councils, and we want you guys to have that flexibility. So, create something that works specifically for you.
We have a few thank yous on here.
I'm excited. I think we're going to have a great QI year. All things considered.
And just a reminder, your evaluation of your strategic plan is due the end of this month. There's no fourth quarter report, just that evaluation of the strategic plan. And you can just send that to Charlie, Michelle, or myself. And then August 31st will be your updated school readiness plan.
Right.
And once we get a little bit more guidance on that, we can send that out. With your amount.
Right. I
Hopefully.
think that's what we're missing is the allocation.
Any questions or comments? We have a few more minutes. Charlie or Michelle, do you guys have any updates? Michelle has a new grandbaby. That's why she was out for a few weeks.
Other than that, I have no new updates.
She's still trying to catch up on her sleep, probably. Helping with the grandbaby. Yeah.
No
I
updates
just
on
wanna-
my end.
Yeah, okay. I just want to thank you guys so much for joining today and just the incredible work that has been happening in this really challenging time that we're all trying to figure out right now. It's just been amazing to see your hard work. So thank you so much for everything you do.
We do have some questions. Will there be written guidance to update? Will there be, will there be written guidance to update the school readiness plan?
Yeah, the guidance is what's in the highlighted in the legislation, which is just how you will serve the level 1 programs in addition to those level 2s that you've been serving, and how you will, it's basically how you will recruit and retain or recruit and, you know, help programs retain their high quality or get to high quality. So if you'll look at that second slide on this one here, oops, I lost my feed.
And we'll send out the slide deck.
Yeah, that second slide on the slide deck highlights what those things are that need to be adjusted. And it really shouldn't be a big lift, you guys. You know, it's probably what you're doing already. It's just including broadly all of the programs within your district, your catchment area.
And since we'll be doing a contract amendment anyway, this is your opportunity to make any changes in your budget that would be over that 10%. I know you guys originally submitted your RFA documents months ago, so if things have changed and you want to make, I know there were some changes to the statement of work being requested or changes to your budget, this is your opportunity. Let's go ahead and do one amendment.
Yeah, very good point.
Okay, well, thank you guys so much for your time. We will send out the follow-up items along with the recording.
Thanks, everyone.
We do have a question, Karen, about the systems building funding increase.
There is not a systems building funding increase that I have been made aware of. We do have a funding increase for CSQI base funds.
All right. Thank you guys so much. Have a great afternoon.
Have a good one. Take care.
Thank you, everyone.